Hi folks, welcome to Set Apart Homestead. So today I'm going to answer a practical question that's been asked to me many times when I talk about living out in the woods like this, or out in the wild, or out in the secluded areas, and especially the Ozarks. And that's all those little things that creep and crawl and bite you. You know, them chicks and tigers. Ticks and chiggers, okay. And mosquitoes, and other things. Yes, we have them. A lot of people say they just wouldn't want to live like this, or live out in the woods and the wilds, and or in the Ozarks or other places, because we have those things. Well, I can't argue. They exist, and there is a definite danger level there of, getting bit by one and contracting some type of disease, which there are some that are out there nowadays. They seem to be finding more and more that are being transmitted by these things. And so, got a few tips on how to deal with that, and just kind of my ideas. Now, my disclaimer for this video is I am not an expert. I'm not giving any kind of medical information or advice or anything. I'm giving you my experience and the things that I have picked up along the way by living like this for most of my life. And mostly opinion and experience. So, first off, the best way to deal with those things is preventative measures. Doing things to try to not get them on you. If it's ticks like to stay on tall grasses and tall brush, and they hang on the edges of the leaves, and as you walk by, they, cling on to you. So one of the better ways is just to keep things mowed, if you're able to. Now if I walk out here in all this tall stuff, I'm probably going to have some ticks on me. But around your house, try to keep things mowed. Chickens, guineas, things like that, they like to eat ticks. Guineas definitely a lot better. If you have them, or able to have them, and have them free range on your property, that will definitely reduce the amount of ticks that you get. Mosquitoes, try not to have any standing water sitting around your place. Things like that. There's some common sense stuff that you can do to reduce the amount that are out there. Then there's also things that you can put on your body. Chemical stuff like DEET. I personally don't use it because of just all the studies out there of the harmful side effects of it, so I choose to not use that. That's your choice if you want to or not. Anything that I do use is typically more natural based, but even that isn't 100%. The bottom line is if you live out like this, or spend any time out like this, you're going to get bit. You're going to find one on you. You're going to get a mosquito on you. You're going to have chiggers. You're going to have poison ivy. You're going to have a spider crawl across your arm or something like that. That's just part of it. I think we as a people have separated ourselves from nature so much that the idea of living that close to nature, to where a bug crawls on you or something like that, seems terrifying for a lot of people. And if you think about it, it wasn't that long ago that people, lived much closer to nature and had those types of creepy crawly things in their life a lot more. As far as ticks, and again, I'm not an expert, but most of the diseases that you can contract from a tick bite, the tick typically has to be embedded on you for about 24 hours before it can transfer. And that's most of the cases. So if you get it off of you before then, the likelihood of you, getting some kind of disease is really slim. And you have to realize, I know you hear about it a lot. Some of you know people that's, contracted Lyme disease or these others, and I have too. I know people. The reality is the amount, the statistics, or the percentages of people that get bit by ticks and get those, contract those diseases, are really small, because people get ticks on them all the time, especially if you live out here in the Ozarks. It happens. So it's not something that you should be completely terrified of, and keep you from living like this or from being outside. Yeah, you need to be aware of it. But I think a lot of people have so much fear about it that they choose not to. And you know what? Someday, if the big balloon goes up, you may have to live out like this. So you need to start learning how to deal with it now. There are some preventative measures that I use, but know this, that there's nothing that's 100%. There's nothing chemical, man-made, natural, anything that you can do, put on your body that's just going to create 100% barrier against creepy, crawly, bitey things. You know, it just doesn't work that way. You know? So I'm going to show you a few things that I do. As far as chiggers, you know, that stuff that you get in tall grass, little bitty tiny bugs, they bite you, and you have these little bumps and they itch like crazy. You take you an old sock and make you a mixture of diatomaceous earth and sulfur and put it in there and see how it take this and slap it around on your legs, ankles, things like that when you're out working, and that's a good preventative against chiggers. Just something as simple as this, and you can get the stuff. Got it all over me. You can get that stuff at most any farm store. Very powdery, but do that kind of thing. Of course, if it's wet, it's gonna get washed off if you're walking through dew and stuff, so you might have to reapply it a few times. And that's the key to all of this stuff is, you know, I've seen people say, well, you know, here's this essential oil mix or this natural, you spray it on you and you're good to go. Yeah, if you continually reapply it. Even essential oils, and I know there's some people out there that are just like die-hard obsessed with essential oils, and I'm not necessarily knocking them, but they're not the end-all be-all thing. They, you know, once they're exposed to the air, their aroma, their fragrances, the volatile oils start to diminish, and they're not as, you know, potent after a while. So, you know, you can't put the stuff on when you go out in the morning and expect it to still be working when you come back in at dinner time. You have to continually reapply it if that's what you're using. There's a lot of essential oils that can be effective, and the ones that are effective with, say, the ticks in my area may not be as effective as in your area. You know, they've proven that, you know, things like ticks and stuff regionally, they kind of, you know, are attracted to certain things in that region, and the certain things repel them that they may not be attracted to or be repelled by as effectively in other areas. One of the ones that I've been using since last year is pennyroyal oil. This stuff's pretty strong and toxic, so be cautious with it. I wouldn't be putting it on yourself directly, and especially on children directly. I don't even know that I don't even use this on my children, because pennyroyal is a pretty potent one, but I've had some good success with it on myself. Cedarwood is one that works pretty well, especially here with mosquitoes. This lemon eucalyptus, which is actually Eucalyptus citrodora. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but anyways, that's worked pretty well with mosquitoes for myself. Those are some things that, and like I said, I know there's going to be a lot of you will chime in, well, what about this one? What about this one? That's fine, mention it. I've got a ton of essential oils, and I didn't want to make a 20-minute video listing all the different essential oils that you can use. Something else that I've been trying out this year, and so far I've had pretty good success with it, and that's Vapor Rub. This is the generic, and of course, you know, it's got menthol and eucalyptus and camphor in it. Whew, opens you up. Take a little bit of this, and I rub it on my ankles, and it's been pretty effective. I think one of the things that causes this to be effective is the fact that it's sticky and it sticks to you. So it's staying on your body longer. You know, a lot of these things, you spray them on and they smell good. They smell like they're working, but they evaporate after a while, or your sweat washes them off. And something like this, because it's really sticky gummy, I probably should do this because I'm not advertising cheapy Walmart stuff. Anyways, this stuff sticks to you better. So I think that is probably one of the things that causes this to work pretty good, is that it's sticking to your body. Those are some ideas, but remember, the best thing is just, keep things mowed. If you have to go out in high grasses and weeds and stuff, some of this stuff can help. If you're able to have certain animals around that keeps things, that likes to eat ticks, that's a good idea. But the number one of all these things, like I said, nothing is 100%. None of the stuff you buy at the store is going to be 100%. The only way to keep yourself from getting, a disease or something is checking for ticks. I mean, that's just how it is. Out here like this, it's a daily thing. Once it starts to become apparent that they're out in full force in the last few days, we've had tons and tons of rain the last 2 days. It's been hot and sunny, and man, it's just like an explosion of ticks. It's checking for ticks every day. When you come in at night, whether you bathe at night or not, it doesn't matter. You should go in, strip down, and check everywhere. Check your children for ticks. Make it a routine. That is the only way that you can really guarantee that, you're not, and even that's not a guarantee, but it's definitely increases your odds of not getting some type of illness from these little bitey things. Is just checking for ticks. The essential oils, the sprays and stuff, they can help, but they're repellent. And, I've even, a couple of years ago, I took and went outside and collected as many live crawling ticks as I could find. And I laid them out on a white counter, and I took drops of different essential oils and put on them, and not any of them it killed. They were all still moving around. I mean, this is straight essential oil being dropped on the ticks, and not any of it killed the ticks. So it's basically, the aroma is supposed to repel them from you, but even that's not 100%. Another thing that I have read and I have done, I do it with my animals, is add a little bit of apple cider vinegar to your water when you drink it. You don't need a whole lot, but as you sweat and stuff, it kind of seeps out. I've heard that it can change like the pH balance in your sweat or something like that. I'm not an expert. Someone may correct me, I hope. But that can also aid in repelling ticks. And it's good to drink apple cider vinegar on a daily basis anyways. You don't want to drink it straight. Well, I guess you can, but a few tablespoons in a glass of water and you're good to go. But the main thing is just not to be afraid. I mean, we've built these walls around us as modern people, between us and nature, and we don't even consider ourselves part of nature. And what most people in America know as nature is going to a manufactured, manicured, controlled, park-like setting, and they call that nature. I guess it is, but it's certainly not the wild. And when you go out like this, there are things out there that'll bite you. There are things that are venomous. That's just how it is. But I look at it this way: if I go in the city, there's also people with knives that could stab me, and guns that can shoot me, and cars that can run over me and steal things from me, and there's all kinds of diseases and stuff in the city. So I think that my odds are pretty good out here. And just do the preventive things, checking for ticks. You can use this kind of stuff. If you want to use DEET, hey, that's up to you. It's just not something I use. Just be smart about it and not be afraid. You can't live in fear of nature. I mean, this was created and given to us, and we're supposed to be part of it and live in it, and we've separated ourselves from it. And I think that's one of the worst things we've done as human beings. So this is some advice. I'm sure there'll be people that'll chime in and give their solutions, things that works for them, and that's great, because I'm not saying this is the end-all solution to ticks and chiggers and mosquitoes and stuff like that. But don't be afraid, and just check yourself every day. That's the best way to do it. All right. Hope this was helpful for some of you. If you want to move into the Ozarks or into the woods or into the wilds, you know, yeah, you got to deal with this kind of stuff. It's just part of life. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.